It's Reeker from Cut Through Recordings, and I'm back for another part of my Mixing Metalcore series. It's been a really long time since I've made one of these, for several reasons, but I'm finally back, and today we're going to talk about mastering. So to start off, mastering is a really touchy subject. It's, first off, what is mastering? Well, you probably think it's just whatever you apply to your master track on your mix. But really, whenever a song's mastered, it's usually sent to someone other than the person who mixed it. And their goal is to do whatever they think necessary to make that track better and the best it can. And to push it up to that professional level for radio, CDs, whatever. So, today I'm not really going to be talking to you about true mastering. I'm just going to be talking about the effects you should apply to the master track in your own recordings to try to make them sound as best as you can. And I'm certainly not an expert at this. I mean, it's probably one of my weaker points, but I've definitely gotten a lot better at it. And I think the most important point to think about while you're doing this is to sit and ask yourself what needs to be done to the track to make it sound better. So, first thing you want to do is just take you a first listen of what it sounds like. Okay, so the first thing I noticed when listening to that is that I need to turn my voice down here just a little bit. Okay, the first thing I noticed whenever I listen to that is that it's very dark sounding. This is an older mix I've done, and I'm just now coming back to it. Another thing that I should have added in the very beginning is that most of the times you're better off to go back and try to fix everything you can before mastering. Like, the master engineer doesn't have that ability to go back and change each individual track, and I'm sure they would if they could, but since you're still sitting here looking at everything, all the individual tracks, you can make changes individually. But there does become a point where it's better to apply things to the entire track, and for the most part, I feel like I'm at that point with this mix. I'm sure if I had more time, I'd make it a little better. But anyways. So I notice it's really very dark, so I'm going to go ahead and put an EQ on here. And I'm just going to sort of play around with the highs until I find the area I'm looking for to boost. I'm thinking it's around 5K, but we'll see. So I'm just going to hit play again. Okay, so now if I A/B that real quick, so you can hear what it sounded before and after. So that's a pretty big difference, and it definitely needed it. I have a really bad habit of making my mixes really dark until I get to this final stage, and I realize, wow, that sounds awful. Okay, now another thing is it's really smart to sort of apply compression throughout the song, or not throughout the song, throughout your chain whenever you're mastering, so it's not all at once. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a compressor on here. And I'm only going for maybe 1 or 2 decibels of gain reduction. So I'm just going to hit play. Okay, so that bass really, that sub really needs to come down. Anyways, okay, so another thing I noticed when listening to this track is that it sounds really weak. So it just doesn't. Well, I don't know if weak's the right term. It doesn't sound very full. So I'm gonna put some saturation on it. I'm going to use this plugin called Ferric TDS. It's a tape saturation plugin. So I'm going to hit play and I'm going to go ahead and adjust the settings on this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and throw another compressor on after this. The idea is that you just press everything in stages, so that way it's not all one compressor doing all the work, and it's a lot less noticeable this way. Man, that sub is still way too loud. It's been forever since I've actually listened to this mix. Okay, so okay, this is what we're looking at now. I think the final thing that I'm going to do to this is the thing that most people associate with mastering, and that would be maximizing, getting it as loud as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and throw L2 on here, and once again I'm just going to let it play, and I'm going to adjust the threshold until I start getting a little bit of gain reduction over here, and I'm also going to set the release setting to the fastest release possible. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sorry about that, it started clipping going into the thing recording this. Okay, I'm just a little curious about what the frequencies look like in this song. I just want to see. So I'm gonna throw this re-EQ on here because it has a little frequency analyzer right here. Okay, anyways, one more thing that's always a good thing to do whenever you're mastering is to take your limiter here at the end and adjust the output ceiling to where it's about the same as get about the same volume as it is with all your tracks bypassed. So I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna adjust that real quick. This way you can A/B it, and that way the volume doesn't have any effect on your judgment as to whether or not it sounds better. So I'll go ahead and A/B that for you real quick. I think it's a pretty good improvement. So